Have you ever noticed that your brain refuses to stop thinking? You lie in bed at night, trying to fall asleep, and suddenly your mind starts replaying conversations from earlier in the day. You remember something you said, then you imagine what you should have said instead. And before you know it, you're analyzing every small detail of the interaction. Sometimes it happens after a meeting, a conversation with a friend, or even a simple message you sent hours ago. Your brain keeps going back to it again and again, like a loop that refuses to turn off. And eventually, you start wondering something uncomfortable. Why can't my brain just let things go? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people experience this constant mental replay. You walk away from a conversation, and suddenly your brain begins reviewing it like a recording. You remember the tone of someone's voice. You analyze the words they chose. You replay your own response and imagine better ones you could have given. Maybe you start thinking, did I say something wrong? Did they misunderstand me? Did I sound awkward? And then your mind begins constructing alternative versions of what happened. In one version, you respond more confidently. In another version, you explain yourself better. In yet another version, you avoid the conversation entirely. The strange thing is that none of this changes the past. The conversation already happened. The moment is gone. Yet your brain keeps revisiting it, searching for something it might have missed. After a while, it becomes exhausting. You wish you could simply turn your mind off for a moment. But instead, the thoughts keep circling back, again and again. And that's when many people begin to assume something must be wrong with them. When overthinking becomes frequent, it can start to feel like your own mind is working against you. A simple interaction can turn into hours of mental analysis. A small mistake can expand into a long chain of imagined consequences. You might start predicting negative outcomes that haven't happened. Maybe that person is upset with you. Maybe you ruin the impression they had of you. Maybe this small moment will somehow affect your future. The more you analyze it, the more possibilities your brain generates. Instead of giving you peace, your mind keeps producing new questions. What did they really mean by that? Why did they react that way? What if I misunderstood everything? At some point, it feels less like thinking and more like being trapped inside a mental spiral. And the most frustrating part is this. Even when you realize you're overthinking, your brain still keeps going. But here's something important that most people don't realize. Your brain isn't doing this by accident. Overthinking isn't simply a random glitch in your mind. It's actually connected to one of the brain's most important functions: prediction. The human brain is constantly trying to anticipate what might happen next. It analyzes past experiences, social signals, and emotional reactions in order to prepare you for future situations. From the brain's perspective, every conversation is information. How did the other person react? What worked well? What could have gone wrong? By replaying events, the brain is essentially running simulations. It is testing different outcomes and possibilities so that next time you might respond in a way that reduces risk. Think of it like a system designed to detect potential problems before they happen. When your brain reviews something that already happened, it is searching for patterns. Did something feel off? Was there a social signal you didn't notice at the time? Was there a moment where things could have gone differently? Your mind keeps returning to the event because it believes there might still be something useful to learn from it. In other words, overthinking is not your brain trying to torture you. It is your brain trying to improve your chances in future situations. A helpful way to understand this is to imagine your brain as a prediction engine. Its job is to constantly scan the environment, looking for signals that might help you avoid mistakes or danger. When something socially important happens, your brain flags it as valuable data. Then it begins processing that data, sometimes long after the event is over. It's similar to how a computer runs simulations to test different outcomes. Your brain is essentially doing the same thing with social experiences. It replays the scenario. It adjusts the variables. It tests alternative responses. The goal is simple. Next time something similar happens, you will be better prepared. Interestingly, overthinking often appears in people who are especially aware of social dynamics, people who notice subtle emotional changes, people who care about how others feel, people who pay attention to details in conversations. In other words, the same mental system that causes overthinking is also connected to empathy, reflection, and self-awareness. Your brain is trying to process more information than most people even notice. Of course, that doesn't mean overthinking is always helpful. Sometimes the system becomes too active, repeating the same analysis long after it has already learned what it needed to learn. But understanding why it happens can change how you see it. Instead of assuming something is wrong with your mind, you can recognize what your brain is actually trying to do. It isn't trying to make your life harder. Your brain is trying to protect you, learn from experience, and prepare you for the future.